I mean, he was under attack once with a vehicle. So certainly, and like I said earlier, it's totality of the circumstance, just to that prior incident. But the environment right now with the threats against ICE officers have been shot at. They've had Molotov cocktails thrown on them. They've been doxxed. There've been, again, assaults up over 1,300%. Threats alone up 8,000%. And you're in a situation with this lady where it's impeding and interfering already. He's in a dangerous situation. And again, I want people to understand this. Put yourself in his shoes. Put yourself in his shoes where he's in that environment. Assaults against ICE officers all-time high. You have a vehicle that is pointed toward him and accelerates toward him. He has a second to make that decision. And I truly believe, and again, this will come out in the investigation, that in his mind, he feared for his life and he took appropriate action. And that, and according to federal law, that's a legitimate response. And even according to Minnesota law, Minnesota state law even talks about a vehicle coming towards you and your right to defend yourself. This officer, I think in his mind, did the right thing to save his own life and life of others. I mean, he was under attack once.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Really appreciate you rolling up to Courageous Media. Thanks so much for being here. Resnap in the house. Thanks so much. Hey, if you're here, please let us know you're here in the comments. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. Really appreciate you. So we got to talk about the ongoing unrest in Minnesota. All the result of ICE operations that have been ramped up there in order to find, detain, and ultimately prosecute and or deport illegal aliens who have committed heinous crimes. Now, obviously, we have the tragic situation of a woman getting shot for her own stupidity, frankly, and her own hubris and her own rage against the machine. Miss Good, who was in a vehicle, who was impeding ICE operations, who was interposing herself within an ICE raid, and then accelerated her vehicle towards a police officer, towards an ICE officer, was fatally shot. And since then, the unrest in Minnesota has gotten unreal. Now, it has not yet reached 2020 levels, the summer of love, but they are certainly trying to get it there. But ICE are not playing around. Tom Homan is not playing around, and ICE are not. Donald Trump has ramped up another 1,000 ICE agents to Minnesota. They are going to combat this. The only thing that is lacking right now in Minnesota, which may be necessary, is the National Guard in order to protect the ICE agents from these ridiculous protesters. But we've got some great videos to show you. And frankly, I'm not even sure that ICE are going far enough. For one, the deceased's quote unquote wife, because let's be honest, as a Christian, two women can't be married, but here we go. The live-in lesbian partner could be heard saying before she accelerated the vehicle, drive, drive, drive. So she's there. She was in the vehicle. She was out. She's the one who encouraged this all to happen. Why has the quote unquote wife not been arrested? Because, as we all know, Miss Good was involved in a crime when she was fatally shot. That makes said crime felony homicide. And anybody who participated in getting her into that situation should be arrested and charged with felony homicide, meaning her wife, quote unquote. Now, but let's dive in because we got some great videos coming out of Minnesota. ICE are not playing, and I am happy to see it. But this is a situation that is not going to end well. It's not going to end well for the protesters. It's not going to end well for people who impede ICE operations. And unfortunately, it has the very distinct possibility of not ending well for some ICE officers, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they are the point of the spear in deporting these illegal aliens. And just so everybody knows, the ICE operation that Miss Good impeded was an ICE operation in order to apprehend a PDF file who was convicted of assault of the sexual nature against a woman. So these are the people they're pulling off the streets. These are the people that, these are the type of individuals that these liberal protesters are actively shilling for. They are putting their lives on the line for what? for somebody who's convicted of SA? Really? That's what you want in your community? It's absolutely nuts. Again, I really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks so much for being here. Jamie Enriquez, this ICE officer did his job correctly. It is so true. Yes, 100%. But she was innocent like George Floyd. Zappetto Wizard, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Absolutely. Susan Quinn in the house. Thanks so much for being here. Resnap. LZ, let's be honest. I want to see, yeah, exactly. So the quote unquote wife was filming this little incident. Where is her cell phone video? Why has it not been uploaded to every single social media site in the world? Why? Because it clearly shows what she said, drive, drive, drive. It clearly shows her lesbian partner accelerating toward the ICE officer, hitting him, actually striking him before he fires the fatal shots. We all know how this is going to end. It's not going to end well for the protesters. That ICE officer will not spend one day in any type of disciplinary action for this. It was a good shoot, 100%. Right? Yeah. When is the assault on ICE going to stop? It probably will never stop because these people are deranged, delusional morons. They love the criminal illegals in the country. Why? Because Trump wants them out. If Trump said, let's leave all the criminal illegals in the country, then I think half these people would suddenly flip and go, no, we want them out. Because it's the opposite. Whatever Trump wants, they want the opposite. And there's also the aspect that they are bought and paid for. A lot of these people are bought and paid for protesters. They're paid for by the globalist cabal of corruptocrats that is actively trying to destroy the country. Travail, thanks so much. Bonjour, monsieur. Welcome in. All right, let's dive into some of these videos. Really appreciate everybody rolling up again. So here we go. We got a CNN report first talking about this. Then we're going to get into some of the actions that ICE have taken since this incident. Here we go.
So, Laura, right now we are in downtown Minneapolis. We've been following this protest outside of a hotel where these protesters believe federal agents may be staying. And just in the last few seconds, it appears they're trying to get actually inside this hotel. You can see this ramp that they were all around me a few seconds ago, and now they're up this ramp. I can see a door open to this particular hotel, and you can see and hear how much noise they're actually making right now. Earlier, they were shining lights on some of the windows, truly making as much noise as humanly possible to this point, banging on drums, blowing their whistles, out with their signs as well. This is at least the second hotel they have been to in the downtown Minneapolis area, appearing to be under the belief that agents are staying at the hotels at which they arrive. Now, again, you can hear the drums, but I can't emphasize enough, it was just a few seconds ago, as we're going to get closer to this ramp to see what we can see. Excuse me here. Where you can see the door open. It doesn't seem that they've made much more progress beyond that door opening and a good portion of them actually going in. Now, while there was law enforcement in this area a little bit earlier in the evening, we have not seen any in the last 30 minutes or so to this point, as they are now clearly, it seems to have breached at least one of the doors here, but at the very least, everyone out in the street making as much noise truly as humanly possible.
Now, part of the problem is you've got the woke mayor of Minneapolis, Fry, and you've got the idiotic, incompetent, evil, fraudster, terrorist governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, actively helping these people. The local police should be all over this. You've got protesters attempting to breach a private property where allegedly, I don't know if the ICE officers are actually here or not, where allegedly ICE officers are located. This is a dangerous situation. This is a powder keg waiting to happen. The local police should be here rounding these people up, either arresting them or dispersing them, one of the two. But they're not, because Jacob Fry is a communist, an Islamist, and an anti-American thug. So is Walz. So you've got a serious problem, which is why I think Donald Trump at this point needs to call the National Guard, whether it's the Minnesota National Guard, or whether he brings in people from out of state. The National Guard need to be accompanying the ICE officers to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen, to give them additional riot control capabilities. This is absolutely nuts. Resnap, you are right. Losers, all of them. I 100% agree with you. Lynn Sanger in the house. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you rolling up. All right, let's keep going.
And when you look at the size, it actually isn't the overall biggest that we've seen, but you actually see here they've climbed a ladder of this other little vestibule here on the side, and they're up there observing as well, as you've got apartments around the surrounding area on top of that. So this is a protest that had been marching through the city and through downtown Minneapolis in particular, and this is the latest stop where they've made their move here to just oh, and you know what? I'm going to turn here. You can see the lights that they were shining on the sides of the building here, trying to get into some of the windows with that light, which we saw them doing previously on the other side of the building as well. So
again, go arrest these people. This is absolute nonsense. This is why I think they need the National Guard. With the additional manpower of the National Guard, ICE could actually come out and arrest these people. ICE has arrest authority. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. Lynn, you are absolutely correct. The local media is 100% doing people dirty. They are not reporting the truth. They are reporting that, first of all, the media reported that Good was quote unquote murdered by an ICE agent, which is absolutely not true. She was fatally shot by an ICE agent in self-defense after she rammed her vehicle into him. And that is what everybody knows now because the other video angles have come out. Of course, the media won't report on that. They won't talk about that. They are actively trying to stoke this situation. Now, ICE are pretty much done playing around, and I love to see that. Like I said, I still think we need to see the National Guard. But check out this video, because here's another example, like the hotel, of protesters trying to surround ICE agents and impede their operations, putting them in danger. Here we go. Of course, you've got a crowd full of Somalis and illegal immigrants chanting ICE out, ICE out. Of course, they don't want ICE there because they're here illegally. Every single one of these people that is not an actual U.S. citizen needs to be gone. If they're here protesting ICE and they're a legal immigrant, but they're not yet a citizen, I would revoke their status. No, you're done. You're a guest in our country, and we no longer want you as a guest. Lynn Sanger, I agree with you. Pretty much the entire state government of Minnesota is compromised. It's 100% ridiculous that they're not acting on this. They are putting ICE officers and other people in danger. It's absolutely crazy. So check this out because we got another great video. Now here's, again, ICE have stopped playing around. They're starting to arrest people en masse. It's absolutely great to see. Check this out.
Bogus ass motherfucker. Hey, chill the fuck out, bitch.
Yeah, chill the fuck out.
Chill the fuck out. You ain't gonna do nothing. Chill the fuck out. Don't. Hey, bájale. Bájale.
Exactly. Cart them all away to prison.
Bájale de huevos, vato. Bájale. He fucking touching me. Fucking touching me. A ver, enseña la cara, perro. Enseña la cara. ¿Y eso qué? ¿Y eso qué? ¿Y eso qué? Bájale.
Now, the other thing that ICE has started doing is actually pepper spraying people. We're going to get to that in a minute. But
It's a fucking woman.
You start impeding ICE
Throw
officers,
some fucking
you will
balls.
get
Ay, bájate
arrested.
la máscara, culero. Bájate la máscara. Bájate la máscara. You know exactly what the fuck I'm telling you. They're fucking men.
That's a lady, bro.
They're fucking grown-ass men, fucking men handling her.
Guess what? This person up in ICE's face, filming at this close, I'd put in a rule, like, I'm sorry, you got to be 20 feet back. And if not, you're going to get arrested. And you're right,
fucking grab you like that, bitch.
Sounds like a third world country.
Shut up, fucking dog. I don't give a fuck.
Back up. Back up.
Don't touch me. Get these people out of my fucking way then.
Back up.
Back up. And if they don't back up, at the first command, back up. If they don't, spin them around, put them on the floor, and arrest them. This is absolutely nuts. Yeah, what a mouth on that. Exactly. All right. Now, again, ICE officers have stopped really playing around, which it's great to see. One of the reasons this is not turned into the summer of love is because ICE is there, and ICE is not going to take the crap that the local police did back 5 years ago. ICE is going to continue to push back against this. Check this out. 100%. Pepper spray all of them. If they get within 3 feet of you, I'm sorry, you get pepper sprayed. You get maced. You get tased. Enough of this crap. Again, all of these people in this close proximity are impeding the conduct of a federal agent impeding a federal agent in the conduct of their duties. These should all be arrested. Every single one of them. I'm sorry. You want to protest, you want to stand on the sidewalk and protest, you are in the street where they're trying to back up, that's impeding. Right now, arrest them. If you start doing this in mass, you will shut this down eventually. This is absolutely nuts. But I like to see ICE officers using pepper spray and starting to shut this crap down. Let me know what you think in the comments. People are asking why patriots are doing, barring going with the, yeah, exactly. There's not much a patriot's going to be able to do. You're going to put in a counter protest. All you're going to do is probably further impede ICE operations because now you got more people in the street. Unless you physically interact with the protesters, at which point you've got a whole nother problem because now you've got violence between, it's going to turn into violence between the pro-ICE and the anti-ICE protesters. Then you're going to have Minnesota police are going to show up. And again, the whole point is for ICE to be able to go get the people they want to get, put them in the back of the car and get out of there. It's absolutely amazing. And that's why I think the National Guard needs to be called. They need to call the National Guard to Minnesota. Trump, personally, if I were Trump, I'd federalize the Minnesota National Guard. I'd pull it right out from underneath Walz's stupid little fingers. And I would say, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to guard ICE operations. You will keep any and all protesters 50 feet away. They can protest all they want. They can chant, they can hold up signs, as long as they're 50 feet away from any ICE officer. Okay, fine. Because all of a sudden those protests become, moot nonsense points. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, I want to play one more video. This is not about ICE. I want to dive in a little bit to, again, what's going on in Iran. And the bottom line is we really don't know what's going on, okay? What we've got is reports, the media is reporting that, somewhere between 50 and 200 or 500 people may have been killed during the protests. And some of them have been trampled and who knows what's going on. I want to play a video of a gentleman who says that he just escaped from Iran. He's in Turkey and he's talking about what he says is really going on in Iran. And this actually strikes me as true because this is exactly what I think the Iranian Islamist butcher regime would do to protesters. So check out this video. I think it's pretty amazing. And we'll talk about it at the back end. Here we go.
من الان رسیدم ترکیه، بازا بدبختی، اصلا حال رویم خوب نیست. همه رو دارن میکشن، همه رو دارن میکشن، بچه‌ها رو همه رو دارن میکشن. فقط کمک خارجی، فقط کمک خارجی احتیاج. همه شاهزاده رو صدا میزنن، خارشونه بگوید هر کی غیر از این صدا میزنه. شاهزاده نیستش که، شاهزاده سمبل آزادیه. اصلا کاری به اسم شاهزاده نداره. مردم دوباره ناجیه، برادر رو میکشن، بیرحمانه دارن چراغا رو خاموش کردن، هر کاری دلشون میخواد دارن میکنن. من پروازم کنسل شده بود از پروازهای خارجی تهران به خارج از ایران، خارجی همه کنسل شده. و بدبختی یه پرواز ایرانی پیدا کردم. حالا روی مثلا خوب نیست. فقط کمک خارجی. من تا الان تا ایران نباشید نمیفهمید وضعیت چطوری. ترامپه مرامپه هر کی هست، فقط کمک خارجی. چشم امید بچه ها همه به شما هست. این خارج از ایرانه. من یه قطرم توی اقیانوس، فقط میتونم قصه آنامو بهتون بگم. جهنم رو دیدم تو ایران. این چند روز جهنم رو دیدم. گناه داریم، خیلی گناه داریم، خیلی گناه داریم. حقمون نیست. فقط کمک خارجی. چجوری میشه ما کمک بگیریم نمیدونم. نمیدونم چطوری میتونیم وقتی کمک بگیریم. کوه دارن غرقم میکنن تو سر سینه، شلیک مستقیم، بیرحمانه دارن میکشن همه رو. الان
That is tough to watch. That is tough to see. But I think, again, this is one man's story. I don't know who, if he actually escaped Iran, if he's actually in Turkey. I don't know that. Obviously it's a social media video. However, it absolutely rings true with what this regime has been all about for the last 50 years. Since 1977, when they took over Iran and forced everyone into their Islamist mold. They killed darn near 100,000 people in that takeover. Don't think for an instant that they will not kill 10 times that number if that's what it takes in order to maintain their power. Iran is a nation of nearly 90 million people. There have been protests in over 158 cities and towns across the country. They are tired of this crap. And the tipping point was when their currency got devalued and people can no longer afford food. If you cannot eat, that it drives people to do absolutely over the top things. Hence the protests. Now, as this gentleman, as he said in the video, right? He says protesters are being shot directly in the chest. No warning shots, not accidents, deliberate, over and over. He says families are, this is how the Iranians, the regime wants to quell the uprising. They figure if they kill enough people, then the families of those people will start staying out of the street. And that's why Trump has been calling on the Iranian people, keep going, keep the pressure on. But I'm not sure that's going to be enough. Now check this out, because I have another story that I want to get to. So we have media reports that, it's 50 to 500, it's somewhere in there, when all the other reports from independent journalists, people who, have gotten in and out of Iran or whatnot, say as many as 20,000 might be dead already. Now, this is from CBS News. I'm not sure they've broadcast it, but there's an estimate from CBS News with a source inside the country. H. Rana reports at least 2,400 dead. Reuters, 2,000. Iran International minimum 12,000, and CBS saying upwards of 20,000. The regime is going all in, killing hundreds, thousands. And they're asking for Donald Trump to intervene. This is what it looks like in Iran. There's polymarket nonsense. We have an opportunity. Now, I am as close to, well, not as close to. I much more lean on the isolationist side for America. I want America to figure out how to be 100% self-sufficient. That's why I love what Trump is doing in terms of energy independence, why he's pulling chip manufacturing back to the United States, why he's doing everything to get rare earth materials under our control. So I'm for as much foreign interventionism as is necessary for the good of the United States. I think Trump should buy Greenland. I think Trump should absolutely maintain control over Venezuela in some way, shape, or form. Make sure that we have all that oil reserves at our indirect control with a regime, with a government there that is 100% U.S. friendly. We should maintain 100% ironclad control over North and South America, our hemisphere. So I do not want another endless foreign war. I don't want military adventurism in Iran. But I think we have an opportunity. The devaluing of their currency and the fact that people are out in the streets by the millions presents us with an opportunity to reshape global politics and the Middle East. I was never one for, hey, we have to go do regime change in Iran. No. But regime change is on Iran's doorstep. If we can figure out a way to tip the balance, if we can tip this thing over the edge. Now, there's really, there's probably four options that Donald Trump has, right? One is, really ramp up the economic pressure on Iran and anybody who does business with Iran. Simply sanctioning Iran, is not going to is not going to be the tipping point. But if you tell the entire world that Iran is now a pariah and that anybody who does business with Iran will be subject to 500% tariffs from the United States. So China, you can no longer buy Iranian oil. India, anybody who's buying Iranian oil, you must stop or face 500% tariffs from the United States. And then start impeding Iran trading oil with anybody. Basically sanction the oil and start doing to any tankers rolling out of the Strait of Hormuz what you did to sanction tankers in the Caribbean. Board them and confiscate them. That's one option. Another option is military airstrikes. The question becomes, what do you strike that's actually going to damage the regime? You don't want to inflict casualties on the protesters, but what can you literally strike from the air that would damage the regime's ability to quell the uprising? If you can find those targets and identify them and know that it'll be effective, that's a possibility. In and out strikes, just like you did to take out Iran's nuclear capability. The other potential option, now obviously the last option would be boots on the ground en masse, and absolutely none of that. We're not doing another Iraq. We're not doing another Syria nonsense. But what if you were able to, with targeted special forces like you did to Maduro, potentially take out or remove some of the Iranian IRGC leadership? That's a possibility. Again, I'm just talking about what are the potential options open to Donald Trump in order to try to tip this thing over the balance. Because if you get a pro-Western government in Iran, if you get rid of this ridiculous supreme leader, cleric, mullah nonsense that's going on in Iran, you would instantaneously stop all of the funding of Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, and any other Iranian proxy states that you got going on. You would help put China in a box because you now control the flow of oil from Venezuela. That stops to China. It stops to Cuba. You could also stop the flow of oil from Iran to Cuba, and you would stop the flow of money supporting terrorism that came from Iran into Venezuela and into Cuba. you would essentially isolate Cuba, now that you've got Venezuela, and you'd further isolate Venezuela, forcing them to essentially play ball with the United States. That's what I would love to see. What I would love to see, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think? What should Donald Trump do? Lynn Sanger, I'm for that, Chris. Absolutely. Cuba will fall next. Yes, I want to see Cuba fall. I think, frankly, Cuba should become a U.S. protectorate. I think we should end all nonsense with Cuba, turn it into the next Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. They don't have statehood. They don't vote for representatives in Congress that actually have a vote. But we could turn Cuba, at least maybe in a transitionary stage, into a U.S. protectorate. And then you can start investing. Imagine Cuba, what it was in the 50s, when it was the combination of Miami, Hawaii, and Vegas. Right? It was Miami with even better weather. It had resorts everywhere and casinos everywhere. It was where people went for that type of vacation. It was the Vegas of the Caribbean. And so you could absolutely remake Cuba's economy in just a matter of a few years. People would be building hotels and resorts like crazy there. So we could remake. Trump has the ability to remake this. The question is, what do we do in Iran to tip the balances? And I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know. My gut feel is that if we can use U.S. Special Forces, or even better, CIA operatives, right? Maybe augmented by Special Forces, but Special Forces, you've got to ingress and egress. Theoretically, you've got some type of intelligence assets on the ground there already, or you're not much of an intelligence service. But use those. Let's start removing Iranian leadership pieces from the board somehow. And let's help tip this thing over the edge. That's what I say. Let me know what you think in the comments. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Trump needs to focus on domestic policies at home. As far as money issues goes, the Republicans will get trounced. There is that problem. That's why I don't want to see any large scale operations. We're not no boots on the ground. You know, we're not landing Marines on the beach near Bandar Abbas. None of that. No, any involvement in Iran needs to be very targeted, very precise, very quick and fast. Even to the point that I wouldn't even broadcast it. Maybe you let the protesters in Iran know. But other than that, I don't even think you need to let some of this stuff be known in the United States. Go do your thing. If it's the CIA, go do your thing, make it happen. But you're absolutely right. Trump needs to make sure that we don't lose the midterms. He needs to keep focusing on domestic issues. The economy is starting to roll. We need to get interest rates down. Now that we've got things under control or potentially under control in Venezuela, we can seriously ramp up gasoline production by flooding the Gulf Coast refineries with heavy oil. We can get gas prices further down. We can further supercharge the economy. There's all sorts of things that can happen. At the same time, you're putting China in a box. So let me know what you think. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks for being here. Keep it on the low down. I agree with you. Absolutely, Lynn. All right. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. Thanks so much for being here. Remember, God is good and he is sovereign, and it'll all be good in the end. Praying for the people of Iran, praying that they can figure out a way and they can get the help they need to get this Islamist, brutal, murderous regime out of Iran and let it go back to being Persia. That would be an absolute wonderful thing, not just for the Iranians, but for the entire world. Let me know what you think. Have a great, until I talk to you next time, have a fantastic day.